Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Ivan and I'm a commercial still life photographer. This video is a part of my online jewelry photography course in which I teach professional jewelry photography. So if you are into jewelry photography or commercial photography, please consider subscribing to the channel as I have many new videos coming soon. If you like this video, I will appreciate you hitting that like button, and you have the link to my online jewelry photography course in the description below. Enjoy the video and please let me know in the comments if there is anything that you would like to know regarding jewelry photography, and I will do my best to make some videos on the subject. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Jewelry image editing in Photoshop is a very important stage of the process of jewelry photography. As I have mentioned, taking the actual photograph is only half of the way for beautiful jewelry images. There are many possibilities for image editing in Photoshop, but the most important thing to keep in mind is that our goal is to have realistic results. We have worked very hard during the photography stage to have the best lighting possible for our images, and we want to keep all of the beautiful highlights and soft gradations of our lighting. That is what makes our jewelry look real and appealing to potential customers. It is very easy to destroy all of our lighting work in Photoshop. We don't want to abuse Photoshop. We want to perfect our initial work that we have done in the photography stage. In general, everything is possible in Photoshop. It's only a matter of editing time. But remember, working on images that are badly lit or of low quality will only result in images that look artificial. Our goal is to take good photographs and make them great photographs. The better the input image quality is, the better the output result will be. Of course, our images are of great quality. We have put a lot of energy to perfectly light and photograph our jewelry, and we have beautiful images to work with. Our photography may be as perfect as it can be, but it doesn't mean that the actual jewelry is perfect. It rarely is. Most jewelry items will have many imperfections. Even jewelry pieces that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars will not be perfect. The thing with jewelry is that most imperfections are invisible to the naked eye. Jewelry is usually very small and we can't really see these imperfections when we are looking at the jewelry with our eyes. These imperfections are only visible on close examination of the jewelry piece, usually by using a microscope, magnifying loupe, or of course when taking close-up photography images of the jewelry. In the customer's mind, the jewelry should always be perfect, and this is how we should present it to the customer. This is why we need to use Photoshop in order to conceal all of these tiny imperfections. So, after we have all of our jewelry images ready, it is time to put the final touches in Photoshop. Let's head over to the computer and start working on our ring. As you probably remember, we have taken two images for our first angle of the ring. One for the general main lighting, and another image for the round beads. In Bridge, I will select the two images and open them in Photoshop. I will drag the beads image onto the main image while holding Shift. This will place the image in the same position as our main image. Once the image is positioned, I will lower the opacity of the layer so I could see that the images are aligned properly. I can see that they are not perfectly aligned, so I will use the Transform tool to slightly adjust the beads image to better fit the main image. I will move the beads image with the arrow keys on the keyboard to have it aligned with the main image. Okay, this looks fine. Next, I will bring the opacity back to 100% and I will add a layer mask on the beads image to hide it. Let's zoom in. Okay, so now while using the brush tool, I will paint with white on the layer mask to reveal the image information. I will use a hard edge of 85% and a moderate size, just a little smaller than the actual bead. I will start painting on the layer mask. Nice. Now I will continue doing the same for the rest of the beads. It doesn't have to be perfect at this stage, just good enough to have the beads showing on the image. Okay, nice. Let's see the before and after. Great, the beads look much better now. So, let's move on. Let's closely examine our image so we could get an idea of the retouching that we will need to do. Okay, it's not that bad for this ring, but of course there is work to be done. So, the next thing we'll need to do is to cut the item out. For this, I will use the pen tool. I will zoom in the image and press P for the pen tool. I will start by clicking on the corner edge of the left bead. This will create the first anchor point. I will then continue to add another anchor point, dragging the cursor while I click. This will create a curve according to the anchor point's handlebar angles. I will continue doing so along the edge of the bead. I can click on the anchor point to delete the next handlebar, allowing me to create a new angle. Nice, I will continue doing the same on the gold part of the ring. Clicking and dragging along the edge. It takes some time and concentration to have the path created properly, but this is needed for the retouching of the ring. I will continue doing the same all over the ring. I believe that you can understand this process, and I don't want to bore you. We have a lot more work to do. Let's speed the process up. 20 times faster. Okay, of course I will also clip the inner section. Great. So, after we have the selection done, I will click on the Paths tab. This is where our paths are saved. I will double-click the path's name. This will bring up the saving window, allowing us to name our path. I don't usually name my paths or layers. I try not to get attached to them. It's nothing personal. I will leave the name as Path 1, but of course you can name it how you want. Once I have saved the path, I will hold the Control key and click the path's name. This will make a selection of the path. Now I will click on a random adjustment layer. I'm not going to make any adjustment at the moment. I only want to have the mask in the Layers panel, so I could more easily access it from the Layers panel and not entering the Paths tab each time that I will need to use the path. Okay, so now I will merge the visible layers by clicking E while holding down the Shift and Control keys. This will create a new layer from the two bottom layers of the main and beads images. Now I can copy the layer mask of the adjustment layer by dragging it to the merge layer while holding the Option key. Great, now I will create a white background layer using a solid color layer. Nice, I will disable the white layer for now, as I want to cut out the reflection from the base image. Let's zoom in and click P once again for the pen tool. Okay, so, as before, I will click and drag along the edge of the ring to create a new path. Let's speed it up. Great, once I have the path created, I will save this path as well. I will make the selection, and this time I will not make a layer mask. I will duplicate it to a separate layer. I do this because I plan to add a gradient mask next. Let's drag the reflection layer above the white layer and enable the white background. I will move the properties window so you could have a better view of the layers panel. Okay. I will then reposition the reflection layer under the ring. I can use the transform tool to slightly rotate it to fit better. Great, so now I will add a layer mask to the reflection layer. By using the gradient tool, I will create a gradient mask on the reflection layer to have it gradually disappear at the bottom. Now I will reduce the layer's opacity to 30%. I want a very slight reflection, as I don't want it to take too much attention out of the main jewelry. Excellent, it's time to start cleaning the imperfections. I will create a new blank layer and I will copy the layer mask of the ring. This will make it easier to make the retouching by restricting it only to the ring area. Okay, so let's have a big screen and zoom in. I will start by using the spot healing brush to remove all of the dirt and the large imperfections on the ring. This will be the first step of the cleaning process. I will use as small of a brush size as I can. I will click on the imperfections and remove them. This tool can work nicely for many types of blemishes, and it is quick to use. All you need to do is to click on the area you want to remove, and Photoshop will sample the area around it to cover that area. It will not work for all of the blemishes, but for the first cleaning run, it will do a good job. Okay, so I'm continuing to click on the imperfections and slowly removing them. Let's speed up the process. 20 times faster. This is so nice. I wish I could speed up this process in real life. That would be great. Fast forward life. Or maybe it's better to slow it down. Okay, anyway, let's have a look at the before and after. Okay, nice. So once I have made the first pass and removed most of the large imperfections, it's time for the heavy cleaning. I will create a new blank layer and copy the ring mask as before. Let's have a big screen and zoom in the image. Okay, so now I will use the clone stamp tool to smooth all of the ring's elements. I will use a soft edge brush, 0%, and opacity of 30%. I will hold the Shift key and click on an area to sample it. Once I have sampled the area that I want, I will start painting the sampled area on the area that I want to clean. By using an opacity of 30%, I slowly clone the sampled area, which creates a kind of soft and gentle blur on the area that I paint. I am clicking as many times as needed until I get the result that I want. I will sample a slightly different area every time that I do it in order to have the highlights aligned perfectly. Sample and paint, paint, paint. Sample and paint, paint, paint. I can even use this technique to sample an area and paint it over itself. This will create a gentle blur on the area that I paint, which will make it appear cleaner. We are starting to slowly get a nice and clean surface while keeping the original lighting on the jewelry. I don't want to lose all of these beautiful highlights that I have worked very hard to get in the photography stage. This is a great manual technique to clean almost any area of the jewelry. As you can see, we are starting to get the surface look clean and shiny, and of course, realistic. We are not adding any artificial gradients or coloring. This is as real as it can be, only cleaner. Let's speed it up as it can take quite some time for this process, but it will be worth it in the end. I pay attention to every detail of the ring. Everything that doesn't look perfect will be adjusted. I want to have a uniform look all over the ring. I will even soften the black reflection of the lens gap to have it a bit more aesthetic. It's a very detailed process, and you do need a good eye for this process. And also some patience. But once it's done, it will look great. Okay, let's slow it down here. For the inner hallmark area, I will make another selection. It will make it easier to work on this area this way. I will make sure to keep the dark edge out of the selection, as I don't want to lose it while painting. This is very important, as this dark edge will make the retouching look more natural and realistic, which is our main goal. So make sure to be precise and keep it out of the selection. Nice. Once we have made the path, I will save it and we can right-click on it to make the selection. I will have a small amount of feathering to the selection so it will not be unnaturally sharp. Nice. Now we can go back to our cleaning layer and continue painting. Now that the area is selected, we can paint it freely without worrying about painting on the dark edges. I will try to have the reflections painted as close as I can to the original reflections. Nice. Now it looks clean and shiny. I will continue to the round beads. Just softening them a bit in order to remove the slight texture on them. Great, we're done. What do you think? I think it looks great. Clean, shiny, and realistic. We have kept all of the original highlights of our lighting while making it look super clean and polished. Let's look at the before and after. Really nice. Now I want to take care of the defected bead on the right side. For this, I will duplicate the ring on a separate layer, and I will use the Marquee tool to make a rectangular selection of the left bead and duplicate it. I will use the Transform tool to flip it horizontally. I will reposition it on top of the right bead. I will slightly enlarge and transform it to fit the size of the right bead. Let's lower the opacity a bit so we could accurately place it on top of the bottom bead. Okay, great, this looks good. I will press Enter to apply the transformation, and I will bring the opacity back to 100%. I will add a layer mask to hide it completely, and I will use a small soft-edged brush to reveal it on top of the bead. I will reveal as much as I can from the bead, and the rest I will hide. Nice, let's zoom in. I will select the ring layer mask and hide it by pressing Ctrl-H. Now I will continue cleaning the excess area of the bead using the same clone stamp tool technique as we did in the cleaning layer. Nice, now it looks much better. A little final touch, and I think we have it. Let's zoom out. Okay, I think it looks good. Let's look at the before and after once again. Nice, so now what I want to do is to place the ring perfectly in the center of the frame. So I will hide all of the background elements and I will merge all of the layers. Now I have the ring isolated on a separate layer. I will select it and I will press C for the crop tool. I can now bring back the white background. Now I will click on the corner of the crop box, and while holding Shift I will enlarge it. By doing this, I have enlarged the canvas size while having the ring perfectly centered. Nice, let's bring the reflection back. Let's change the canvas size to a square ratio. I will press Ctrl-Alt-C to bring the canvas size dialog box. In the dialog box, I will have the size to 3500 by 3500 pixels and press Enter. Nice, now I want to enhance the beads a little bit. I will first add a hue saturation adjustment layer, and I will have it set to -60% saturation. I will use a layer mask to hide the adjustment. With a hard-edged brush, I will paint with white on the area of the beads to show the adjustment. This will lower the yellowish tint of the beads and will make them look more white. I will make sure not to remove the gold color that is reflecting in the side of the bead. Nice, this looks much better. Next, I will add a curves adjustment layer to add some contrast to the beads. I will copy the layer mask from the saturation layer, and I will start by dragging the upper right handlebar to have the highlights brighter. Then I will do the same for the bottom left handlebar to have the blacks a bit darker. I will add an extra 2 points on the curve to adjust the contrast. Okay, nice. Now I will add another curves layer to add some global contrast on the ring. I will adjust it to my liking. Nice, this looks great. Excellent. The last thing I will do is to add a shadow underneath the ring's base. I will select the reflection layer, and then I will add a new blank layer. On this layer, I will use a soft edge brush to paint a round black circle. Nice. Now I will use the Transform tool to scale it properly. I will adjust it as needed. I don't want to have it too noticeable, just to add a sense of a shadow. Nice. So I think we are finished. Let's look at the before and after. Nice. Now let's show our layers one by one. We have the original image at the base layer. Then we have the second beads layer that we composited on top of the base image. On top of the base images, we have the white background, the reflection, the shadow, the unretouched composited ring, the spot healing brush cleaning layer, the clone stamp tool cleaning layer, the left bead that we have composited on the right, the hue saturation adjustment to the beads, the curves adjustment of the beads on top of that, and the last global curved adjustment layer. Awesome. Of course, as we have the different elements on separate layers, we can easily change the background color to any color that we want. I think I will leave it on white for now. So lastly, after all the image editing has been made, I will slightly sharpen the image by using the unsharp mask filter. I will merge all of the layers and select the unsharp mask from the filter menu. I will apply a 100% amount and a 1 pixel radius. Great, let's have a final look. I think it looks great and I am sure that our client will be very pleased with the result. I will now save the image as a PSD file in case I will want to make changes to the image in the future. Okay, so this is my process for retouching jewelry images. Of course, it will change depending on the type of jewelry and the client's need. This retouching work took me 56 minutes to complete. In the next video, we will continue retouching our second angle of the ring. I will see you in the next video.